welcome to this new episode of Technovation on KUTV. This week we feature Shamir Waititu, who is the Group MD and CEO of Pinnacle Consulting Services. He has come up with something interesting, and this is how voice biometrics is going to replace your passwords. He is going to tell us how in just a moment. My name is Dennis Omondi. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Dennis. It's good to be here and to have this session. So my name is Shamir Waititu. I'm the Group Managing Director and CEO at Pinnacle Consulting Group. At Pinnacle, we pioneer greatly on voice technologies. So when I talk about voice technologies, that is ranging from call centers, voice biometrics, and the supporting infrastructure. And we've done this for the last 10 years, and we've been able to, make some change, and we're all about, bringing the digital transformation closer to businesses so that we can also still maintain their competitive edge. I'm basically passionate about technology, and from a very tender age, I was, we were lucky to be born in that age where now cell phones were becoming a thing, and the whole idea that you can be able to talk to somebody from here to a very far place was something that used to intrigue me. So if I go back to my gallery when I was young, I would always see myself holding gadgets, those phones, and making a big deal out of it. But basically, I think it's something that came from a long time ago. And even when I was doing my studies and all that, everything was centered around technology. I was trying to understand exactly what is this animal that makes all these things possible. From there, once I enrolled to campus, of course, I did Bachelor of Science in Information Technology. And then I also majored on machine learning and artificial intelligence. Those are the things that I did. But you all know that once you finish campus, there's that part of tarmacking where you land on different jobs. So I think my first job was a call center agent. You see those agents that answers calls on call centers. So that was my first job. And during that time, I think that's when I was able to hone this whole idea of voice technologies, because from there I was able to see that there's a very high potential in this technology. And having been placed in a position where now I'm serving people, leveraging technologies that people don't know, yet I had an idea how they were working, was then I knew I had found the right solution to venture into. And it didn't take so long until we were able to co-found Pinnacle and now do these things from with the whole idea of bringing the much needed collaboration and change that the market was asking at that particular time. So it is between 2013 to 2015. So I enrolled that time, and from there, I think I got my first job in 2016 as a call center agent. That's when these technologies were being thought about, and people were talking about it so much, but we had not seen exactly what they can do. So the real potential of what AI could do was just a concept that was theoretical at the time. But then again, over the years, with everything that has been happening in the technology space, we've seen the power of AI, and there's power in what this technology can do. It's not really replacing the human being per se, but it's giving the human being the power to change the world in the shortest time possible. Like, for example, voice biometrics. They leverage this kind of technologies. So, for example, how can a voice biometric solution differentiate between a real human voice and a synthetic voice? You see, in this case, AI can be able to differentiate these two differences. So that says if today I take your voice, Dennis, and then, or rather, I record your voice, you speaking somewhere, and then I use different apps that are available online to, create a synthetic voice. And then use this voice to maybe authenticate you through maybe other means. AI will be able to, stop that kind of intrusion because it's able to, see the difference between a human voice and a synthetic voice. So that's just an example of what AI has been able to do, and I wanted to understand it better. So that's why I enrolled to it and majored into it, and I've been able to see, or rather to use what I've learned to bring the much needed collaboration in this technology space. I was lucky because my first job, my boss at the time was somebody who was very supportive. Up until today, he's still my mentor. He was that kind of boss who would push you to do to your limits, to do what you never thought possible. And then he also taught me to be independent because he kept saying that, you know, you won't be with me forever. I would want you to flourish in future and all that. So, and having somebody like that at that particular time when I was actually trying to transition was what I needed because he had the experience. He knew how to navigate the technology, the tough terrain in the technology market. And he actually would even go to certain meetings with me just for me to see how exactly is he positioning these solutions. And from there, I was able now to amass the real knowledge that I needed to start Pinnacle and to run it because, you know, in this current state, there are so many big giants in the market that you are competing with. Some of them have been in the market for the longest time, and you want to be on the same level with them. So of course, that requires so much from you. But having that kind of backing and also the zeal, you know, to make a difference, not just to exist, to at least make a difference, and the only way I could make a difference I knew was through technology. So I knew this was the right time to actually go through this. And so far we've done some good progress. So voice biometrics is the extraction of a unique print from your voice. So that basically means the human voice is a unique print. The same way we have fingerprints, and the same way we have the same way you have unique fingerprints, the same way you have unique voices. So the morphological features of how you talk, so that's basically the pitch, the vibration and all that. That's what we capture, and we extract it as a mathematical identity. So this what we've extracted is what we call a voice print. So when I say I've extracted your voice print, is that I have extracted different characteristics of your voice, and then I've stored them as a mathematical entity. That's number one. So how does this help? So this one means, so for example, in a scenario for a bank, so let's say you called a bank today. Normally, the kind of authentication that is happening right now is called knowledge-based authentication, where they ask you questions about your account, your last transaction, your mother's maiden name, things like that. But with voice print, the agent on the other side would be able to know whether it's Dennis talking on the other side of the phone just by having a conversation with you. Then how effective is this technology? So basically, it authenticates you within the first 3 seconds of net speech. So that says the first 3 seconds of you speaking already, the person sitting on the other side of the bank knows whether this is Dennis speaking or not. So that, number one, can help in enhancing customer experience. So a call that was supposed to run for 6 minutes, you know, and the first 3 minutes or rather 4 minutes of that call is trying to identify you, has been cut because you can only now identify within 3 seconds. So we reduce that time from 4 minutes to 3 seconds, leverage technology. Number two, call center costs. You know, running a call center can be expensive, especially in a bank situation. So imagine the savings that would be incurred if you cut a 4-minute call that requires you to authenticate a customer to 3 seconds. Of course, that saves so much money for the bank. Number three, there's fraud. I'm sure you've heard about callbacks and all that. Somebody has access to your information. It's something we call account theft. So where I have access to all your account details for the bank. It's called phishing. So I have your card, I have your PIN numbers and all that. With that information as a hacker, I can do so much damage to you, all right? So imagine if a bank has the threshold where you also have to authenticate yourself using voice. Say yes, so that means even after having all that data that I have, I still can't be able to access your account because I can't have your voice, all right? So your voice is your password in this case, all right? And the good thing about this technology right now is that you don't need to repeat certain predetermined words for you to be authenticated. You just need to talk normally the way you talk, even in your mother tongue, even if you have an accent, still the technology will be able to identify you. So if you look at all those advantages in one technology, that of course is bound to make some shift because if you look at, for example, let's say two-factor authentication, all right? That requires you to even use things like text messages, which are billable, by the way, vis-a-vis using your voice for 3 seconds. So of course, there's the aspect of saving cost for the businesses, enhancing customer experience, and also reducing fraud and mitigating fraud whenever it happens. So basically, we are now changing what people used to know as passwords. And of course, if you go to, imagine a situation where you just go to a supermarket and you're at the till, or you're at the till, and now you want to pay. You just need to use your voice to authenticate that transaction. All right? So we are trying now to make that shift so that people can now start adopting these technologies, so that we can move now to the next phase, which is now, leveraging artificial intelligence and things like that to make our lives easier. The same voice that comes from a human being is not the same one that you can be able to generate using synthetic voices, even though parts of the print will be similar, but most of it won't be. All right. So artificial intelligence helps us in now differentiating between synthetic voices and real human voices. And when I talk about this voice print, I would like to explain more on the voice print. What is this thing? So it's basically a list or other characteristics of your morphological features, how you talk, your vibration, the pitch, and things like that. All of them being captured and then and then being transformed into a mathematical entity. That mathematical entity is what now we call a voice print, and that is what we store into the database. So during enrollment, when I'm actually extracting your voice, I'll have to have you speak naturally first, right? And then maybe I can still use the conventional means of authenticating you. And then once I have your unique voice print, I store it in the database. So the next time you call, the system will now create another voice print and then compare with what we have in the data metrics. So what does that mean? So these are voice biometrics technologies that require you to repeat certain predetermined words for you to be authenticated, like my voice is my password, things like that. Now, the difference between that and what we have is that ours is passive. So ours can authenticate you even when you're speaking normally. You do not need to repeat any predetermined words. Even if you have an accent, or even if you speak in mother tongue, still it can be able to authenticate you. So that's the major difference between what other companies are offering and what we are offering. The fact that you don't need to repeat certain predetermined words for you to be authenticated. You normally have all those ambitious dreams when you're starting. I want this company to be big and all those kind of things. But then you find things on the ground are a bit different. Like, you're trying to enter into a market where already there are some people who have been there. Despite what they've been offering, whether it works for the market or not, still you're trying to match up and still trying to be on the same level as them. Now, clearly you cannot, because you just started, you don't know the pros and cons of the market. So somebody like me had to make some few mistakes first, which were very expensive, and then sometimes you could even get to levels where even you feel like you want to give up because these problems are too tough and I'm not cut out for this. But then again, that zeal of still wanting to make a change is what keeps you moving. And small wins here and there also can keep you there. So the way to do it is that no matter how big the challenge is, I'd say to look at it objectively. All right. So there's this company so-and-so that is selling a very powerful solution. I know mine is powerful equally or even better, but then again, in front of a client who will be picked. Those are the questions normally that we normally go through. And you find clients tend to go to those people who have been in the market for quite a long time. So actually of late, it's when I've been seeing that companies now want to interact with companies that actually work with powerful technologies vis-a-vis being in the market for so long. And then how they solve that problem is that maybe they can give you a POC just to see how your solution works before they actually adopt it. So if your solution is able to go past the POC, the proof of concept stage, then from there now you start, being on the same level with these people. So I think every failure brings with it an equivalent seed of success. The more we kept, positioning this solution to businesses, the more there was need for more workforce. So we were able to now even create a workforce, so with different departments, people doing different things. Because I remember when I was starting, I was everything. I was the CEO and still the person who would do support. So you can imagine running around doing all those things at that time was a bit hectic, but if the moment that I was able to transition, now that I have individual departments doing individual roles, and then I realized I had more time actually to be creative, I think that's also a light moment during the period. We've also had some, client feedback telling you about your software. I think if you did this to your software, it could work. And you would find that where we've been able to reach with that particular software right now, most of it is from customer feedback. So right now we have a superior solution that has been informed by the mistakes we did, or rather the gaps that we had with our clients who requested for special or rather special functionalities. So I think even the client feedback has been able to help us, create a very powerful solution and still maintain our competitive edge in the market. So the first step for this demo will be the enrollment process. So what we want to achieve with the enrollment process is to extract a voice, a unique voice print. And how we are going to do is that I'm going to initiate a call from the system, and then I'll talk for 20 seconds, and then the system will be able to pick a unique voice print from my voice. Then from there, I'll now call back myself, see how fast the solution is able to verify me. And the same call, I'll have you talk, then we see whether the solution can be able to know the difference in speakers in real time. Yeah, so the enrollment process starts now. So today we want to see how this solution works and be able to extract a unique voice print from my voice. Then we can see how it can add value and still see whether it can be able to authenticate me, or rather identify me on a real call or a virtual call. And then how it can be used also to help businesses, save on cost in terms of call center running costs and things like enhancing customer experience and mitigating fraud. So I think now we.
Demo. Please speak freely to verify your voice.
Yes, this is Shamir. I'm trying to see the system will be able to identify me within the shortest period. Now I'll have Dennis talk in the same call to see the system will be able to see the difference.
So hi, Shamir. I'm trying to look at this demo and see how it's working and see how it can help companies to work out. Okay, it has already identified something else.
Now, as you can see, it has identified it's Dennis. So let's see that it's able to see whether it's still me. See how fast it is able to identify me. See how fast now it's able to identify me. So basically, that's the whole voice biometrics technology and how it can be able to identify speakers on a real time. So this map shows the adoption of voice biometrics all over the world. So if you can see, United States and Canada, it's a first world country. So they majorly leverage these voice biometric solutions. We have Latin America, and we have also Asia and some parts of Australia. And then if you look at Africa, if you focus on Africa, you can see almost like 90% of Africa has not adopted these technologies. And that is why we are here and doing this, so that we can be able now to also turn this place orange. love what you do, because if you don't love what you do, it will be an uphill task. It's like literally squeezing a square peg in a round hole. It will never work. But also, you also need to welcome challenges, because I think challenges make you a much stronger, much flexible person. All right. Most of the people I know, even in this space, have a similar story, where you find that the failures that they had, the failures that they've had so far, is what they've made their company grow. So you need to rather appreciate challenges when they come. Don't run away from them. Face them head on.
Thank you so much once again for watching. My name is Dennis Omondi. See you in the next one.